Now that you have Audacity open, let's come to Edit, Preferences, and in Preferences, go to Quality on your left side. And for the default sample rate, let's go to 48K. Default sample format, 32-bit. Everything else we can leave as is and hit OK. And now we're going to generate our first tone. We'll do that by coming up to Generate, Tone, and we want to generate a sine wave at a frequency of 440 Hertz with an amplitude of 0.2. Now, this tone is going to be 5 seconds long, so we can mark that as 5 if it's not already, and choose OK. And we have our 5-second tone at 44 Hertz. So let's come up here and choose Name and just type in 440. OK. And to play any sound or any track in Audacity, we tap on the space bar and tap again on the space bar to stop. Let's create a new tone. Now, how we're coming about the numbers can all be located on your frequency chart of notes. It's the PDF file that's a downloadable on This Week. And coming over to the A column, I chose 440. Now I'd like to make an A that is an octave lower than the 440. That would mean coming down to the 220. It is half the hertz, and we'll be able to examine the actual waveforms once we've created the 220 to compare it to. So I'm going to come on back to Audacity, click off the track. You see, if I stayed on this track and created a new waveform, it would overwrite the 440 waveform. So I have to click off, then come to Generate, Tone. This one will be 220. I'll choose OK. And if I play them both together, we're getting the 440 and the 220. If I play either alone, by clicking on the solo button, we're hearing only that frequency. Let's come back to that chart now. And we have 440, 220, and 110. I'll click off, come to Generate, Tone. This one will be 110, and playing all three together, or playing only the 110. And you should be starting to see now, as we cut the frequencies in half, we are going down by 1 octave in tone. Let's come to the Zoom button, and just by clicking this a few times, you can see that the lower the frequency, the wider spaced out the sine waves are. The tighter, the higher the frequency. Zoom back out, and let's come to we have 440. We will name these 220 and 110. And back to our A chart, back to the frequency of notes chart. We'll come back to the A's. We'll create one more at 55 Hertz. I'll click off any selected tracks by clicking in this gray area. Come to Generate, Tone, and I'll make one at 55. All the other settings stay the same. Choose OK, and now you're hearing a 55 Hertz tone. But you may not be hearing this if you are watching this on either a laptop with the laptop speakers, or on, say, an iPad or an iPhone, or any type of tablet. So those devices aren't really made to reproduce frequencies this low. So only if you're listening with a decent pair of headphones or at a computer are you really hearing the 55 Hertz tone. Now, playing everyone together, now you're hearing something more towards a note or several notes, instead of something that sounds more like a hearing test. Let's create more tones. We'll come back to our chart, and Above 440, we have 880 and 1760. So I will click off to deselect any tracks. Come to Generate Tone 880. I'll name that right away. Click off any selected tracks. Come to Generate Tone again, and this tone will be 1760, twice of 880. Choose OK, and we have our 1760 and our 880 as well. And if we want to create one more at 3520, we really are not going to have much of a use for the 7040 or the 1408, but the 3520 will at least give you the experience of what that is. Come to Generate Tone and 3520. Before I play this, I'm going to bring the volume down because it's going to be rather harsh. And this is the point where we've got several frequencies. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, running from 55, 110, 220, 440, 880, 1760, and 3520. From this group of 7 tones, we're going to build one singular note. We may decide not to use all 7 tones, but our focus will be primarily on the 440A. I'm going to mute everything but at 440. You may have to scroll down to reach all of them. I'll come back and we have our 440. Let's add in some 220. And it is something like a recipe where we have our first ingredient, our second ingredient, our third ingredient, but you might see I'm pulling it all the way back down until it's minus 36 decibels. And then deciding kind of how much do I want to bring in. Always the main primary note should be what we hear the most of. Everything else is simply to support or flavor it. These will be the octave harmonics supporting the 440A. Come to 55, we'll unmute that, bring it back down, play. If we want this to just simply run continuously, come to Transport, Loop Play. And the 55 I'm going to leave around 22 or minus 22. And then on the 220, about minus 13. And then we'll come to the higher frequencies or higher harmonics of that 440A. We'll start by pulling down 880 to minus 36 dB and slowly introducing it. Until it complements or supports our initial 440 without taking precedence. Do the same thing with 1760, but I'm going to pull that down first. Now, you might be noticing on the 1760, even at minus 36 decibels, it's pretty loud. So for the 1760, I'm going to come up to this envelope tool, click on it. You'll see everything shifts into having a few different layers. I'll come back to the 1760, come to the top blue bar, and just pull that down, like so. And looks like I have to go down even further. So there's just a slight whisper of that frequency. Our main sound is still our main sound. That is how you can tell if you're achieving a good balance. So I've created my A note at 440. Yours may sound a bit different. You might decide that you want a little bit more of this tone, a little bit more of that tone, but your A is going to be your own, which is absolutely fine. Every instrument has its own manner of harmonics to that instrument, whether it be from one guitar to another, one piano to another, or a guitar to a piano. Every instrument creates its notes and harmonics, its own particular blend. So now that we have our A, let's come up to File, and we want to export this A. My week 1 voiceover and notes intro, or the folder that you decide to create for all of these. You will absolutely want a folder to store all these notes in. And I'm creating a folder called Finished Notes, and I'm going to export this as a WAV file, but I want to export it in 24-bit, not 16-bit. So I'm going to click on Options, I'll click Other Compressed Files, Options, and choose, in this case, a WAV if you're on an Apple, AIFF, 24-bit. I'll choose OK, and this will be A underscore 440. I'll save it, and this will be written down to a single mono channel. I can just click right through here, and in my finished notes, I now have that A note. Now, this is all to create the 440 note. If I now wanted to create a note that focus was on an octave lower, or the 220 note, I will select this track. Let's come out of our envelope there. Select 220, bring that volume up to 0 dB, full volume, come to Transport, Loop Play, and now I will begin to build in the same manner So I've turned off the top 2 frequencies in order to get the 220 A note that I want. Transport, Loop Play. And now I will simply mix all the other frequencies or harmonics up to 20 to create that 220A that I'm happy with and want to work with.